All right, pilots, listen up. This is Lieutenant Commander Mr. Everything from the 1st Naval Aerospace Squadron, and I will be your instructor today. Today, you're going to learn the basic flight skills of our namesake, the Aegis Sabre. You can see the Sabre is behind me. In the top of your screen, right here, you see a keyboard and mouse, and that is how I will be controlling the Sabre today. If you use flight sticks, rudder pedals, 2 sticks, a mouse and a stick, a throttle and a stick, 2 mice, 2 keyboards, or any other flight control method, continue to watch the video and take what you can use from this video and discard what you can't use. All right, so let's go ahead and do a physical inspection of your ship. You'll want to make sure you do that before every flight. You need to know where you get into your ship. That would be here. You want to make sure your weapons are in position, armed, ammo is loaded. You want to make sure there's no damage to your intakes or to your engines. Make sure your landing gear are fully functional. Make sure your flight surfaces, when in atmosphere, make sure all your flight surfaces are intact. You want to make sure that you have no obstructions on your engines, and you want to make sure that all your lighting works for ground control to give you clearance. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our ship, and you do that by pressing the F button on your keyboard, or we'll call it Foxtrot. So you'll press Foxtrot and you'll see a menu options, some inner thoughts appear right here. And instead of just opening the canopy or opening the ladder, which you are more than welcome to do, we are going to skip all that and go enter pilot seat. So you rapidly enter your pilot seat, and now when you sit, if you noticed, your visor HUD does a digital link up to your ship. It's like a near focus attachment, so when you sit in your seat, your helmet HUD will display information important to your ship. Now let's become familiar with your cockpit. I'm going to press F or Foxtrot. That allows me to focus on my crosshair. I can turn my crosshair, my vision, anywhere. So I can look to the right, look to the left while holding F. Be sure not to click on the mouse while holding F, because this is you're going to be using these items that you're pointing at. Now let's see, we've got a few key buttons down here, and usually there is an orange outline when you are pointing at one that is interactable. I can hit flight ready or power on here. I can hit engine on or engine off here, and I have eject right here. And then off to the left, you're going to see open cockpit, open the ladder, open the exterior. So open exterior would be important if I had a back door, let's say, or a ramp. Press to lock, press to unlock. If it was a multi-crew vessel, those would be useful. Now, if I point anywhere to the canopy itself, you usually see an orange outline around the canopy. That is the exit. So if I want to exit this way, I can do this. Now, I have created Mr. Everything's keybinds. If you're a member of the 1st Naval Aerospace Squadron, if you're watching this, you probably are, and if you're not, you should be. I will have my key bindings listed in our Spectrum page under our boot camp. So you can mirror these or not mirror these. I recommend it because I find them to be more effective, more efficient than the ones they provide. I press P, where I've set up to go flight ready. Instead of looking through the cockpit, finding flight ready, which is this button right here, I can just press P for power on.
Aegis combat assist activated.
And
Systems
your
green.
ship will tell you that it's powering on. And if you look at your MFDs, you will learn a lot about your ship, about how the power is allocated, how your weapons are charged, how your stealth is working, your shields. You even have a navigational window right here. This is because I am pressing the Foxtrot button. If I let go of the Foxtrot button, your navigational section here will disappear. You have an immediate ladder that you can see. I'm going to press F, and I'm going to roll the wheel forward. You see the crosshair? Now you can see the ladder right here. This is a degrees that you're facing. So 90 degrees would be straight up. 45 degrees would be a 45-degree climb. Down here, it shows how much hydrogen you have. I have 93% hydrogen. You can collect hydrogen just by flying straight forward in the atmosphere or out. If you're in outer space, you'll still collect hydrogen. You'll just collect it faster within a hydrogen atmosphere. On the left, you've got your altitude. Now, I'm at a negative altitude, which means I'm below the normal or the sea level of this body. This body has no seas, so that means I'm deep in like maybe a crater or a ravine. Below it, you will see your velocity. This is your, okay, but right here, you've got where your current throttle is at or where it's set, and you can use your mouse wheel without pressing F to roll that up. Notice how I'm moving it up. Let's zoom back in. I've assigned my velocity limiter, this is my velocity limiter, above the red line, and I can go as high as 100%. Think of this as a percentage of how fast I wish to go, or how fast my ship is capable of going. The gimbals. Okay, I can switch gimbals by pressing R to fixed. Okay, you see that fixed right there. That means my guns, instead of pivoting when I point at a target, they will stay facing straight forward and only fire straight at the center crosshair. If you have auto gimbals and you press R or Romeo one more time, it will go to auto gimbals. This is not saying auto gimbals. This is fixed and gimbal. That's all I have. Below that, you see Q, which is how much quantum fuel you have to get around the system. You have either a fire here, which means I have flares selected,
Ready.
and hotel or H will select your alternate countermeasures.
Flare ready. Chaff ready. Flare ready. Chaff ready. Flare ready.
So far, so good. You have the landing gear is down. That is your flight status or what kind of G-safe you have assigned. All right, now on your screen in the upper left-hand corner in this area, you have your silhouette of your Sabre, and it's completely green. If there was any damage, it could turn yellow, and if it's destroyed, it will turn, or close to being destroyed, like within 10% of it being destroyed, it'll turn red. And then once it's actually been destroyed or removed, you'll see pieces of this ragdoll will actually disappear. And your EM and your IR below that, that is your electromagnetic signature, and this is your infrared signature. These are, and you see a bar scale underneath it. Like I have 0 EM right now, and I have a fairly decent infrared because I'm using my power. I'm powered up. This is how easy it is for someone to detect me using their scanners. Over here in the upper right-hand corner, you have your target. So if I was to target an enemy, it would appear in here and it would let me know that he has been targeted. And then when I shoot him and damage him, a ragdoll similar to my own on the left will appear on the right, and I will see the areas that I've damaged. These two icons above here, this satellite with a Wi-Fi signal coming off of it, lets me know that I am in monitored space. I am in an area that is detectable by the Empire. So it means that if someone was to perform a criminal act or if someone needed assistance, then it could be detected on the ICC sensors or the probes that are in the system. This icon to the right of this is a bullet with a line through it saying that I am in a no-fire zone. Your weapons will not work. They have been deactivated by the local grid that is preventing you from firing. In the future, the UEE will eliminate these grids and you will be able to fire anywhere, but you will have to suffer the consequences of the United Empire of Earth. All right, so let's go. Now what I'm going to do now is we're going to talk about these 4 MFDs that we have right here, and we're just going to click on this one, right? I'm not clicking, I'm rolling, I'm holding F. F is held, and I am rolling my wheel in and out. If I let go of F, everything will center. And you can see my circle crosshair. That is where my guns are facing. Okay, and then when I go F, I hold it in, it kind of brings up a focus. I point at an MFD, even the bottom one, and then I roll the mouse wheel forward. My vision will focus on that. Now, while I'm focused here, you can make modifications to your guns. Like if I only want one gun to fire, I can power this one off, or I can power it on. I could turn this one off, turn this one on. This is a mouse button. Mouse button 1, my left mouse button, fires this gun. Mouse button 2 fires these guns. How many guns are in these packages? There's 2 guns in this package and there's 2 guns in this pack. Let's take a look at it. Guns. Okay, so I've got an Omni Sky in group 1, and then I've got a Pyro Burst Scattergun in group 2. Those are my 4 guns that I have. It talks about ammo that they carry. The Pyro Burst Scattergun does use ammo, but you can see the Omni Sky lasers obviously don't use ammo. This is how much power they're utilizing. This is their health because weapons can be damaged. This is how much temperature they generate, or what they're at. So if it gets hot, they could overheat. They could actually blow up when they get overheated. All right, now we're still focusing on this. You don't have to use just the guns on the MFD. Okay, we got missiles. So I've got a couple of different types of missiles. They're size 3, and the payload type is strike. So they actually explode when they actually hit the target. One follows infrared, and the other one is a cross section. And I have 2 of each missile. But if I wanted to, I can power off all of my guns, missiles. But now you can also change what is displayed on this MFD. It doesn't have to be guns. If that's not where you want your guns displayed, let's say you prefer your guns to be displayed up here, weapons. Now notice the guns are displayed up there. I can click menu here and change this to comms. Let's say I need to make a communications with someone. You can press that button right there and it opens up comms. I can make it my self status. So if I want to know what kind of status that I have, I can do that. You can also use these buttons here to change how that's displayed. If you'd prefer it to be a front-on display or a side, you can change how it's displayed because it might be easier for you. Like that. Okay, so if you don't want to look at yourself because you know you have it on your visor right there, maybe you're more curious about heat. You can put your heat level down there, and then that will show you what's overheating and what's not overheating. You can actually pick your items, and you can find out what your drift is, what your ping is. Now, these are different items on your ship that generate heat or will cool your system off. And you can overclock them or you can turn their power off. Like I just turned the power off. That means more power is allocated up here. Turn it back on. Now they're going to even out. Now you can also use this bar to limit how much power either one uses if you want. And you can do that with any of your items. You'll need to experiment with your items, and as you upgrade your ship and change components out, different components will function differently, and some will be a lot better than others. All right, so that's pretty much your cockpit, the controls, the MFD screens. Oh, let's talk about shields. That's super important. Okay, we have a shield screen right here. You'll notice how you've got your power in each of these. What I just did by clicking that is I refreshed my shields in that area. Right now we're at 100 everywhere. But if you notice, when I put my mouse pointer into the center where my ship is, I get another little crosshair where I'm pointing. This is the direction that I want my shields to be the most in. If you click it in the middle, they'll be 100% all the way around. But imagine I click it like halfway to the front, but stay in the middle. It adjusts. So now I've got 191 to the front and like 69 to 70s on the sides. That's because it's not perfectly, it's not perfect. And I'm holding the mouse button this time and I can move it around, but I wanted to center it right there in the center to get 100 everywhere. If I don't want all this shield, I can bring it down all around. That saves me power. I can have some shields, but I'll be able to keep power for other things. Or I can go max shields. And you're going to go max shields almost every time, especially if you plan to be in any kind of combat. Now, when I hit items, it brings up my shield items. I have 3 shimmers. Shimmers are the shield generators that I have on this ship, and how much power they're taking, how much health they have, the wear. That means how much usage they've gotten, and then how much heat they're generating. If I hit power,
shields offline.
I don't have any shields. Just heard them go off. So now if I go to system, I still have shields, but if they take damage, they're not going to regenerate.
Shields online. Shields recharging. Shields up. More power to shields.
And this is the screen you're probably going to be viewing the most when you're looking at your shields. It looks like there's a screen right here, but it's not in use for anything. So don't be confused because nothing's coming on right there. It's really nothing there. Okay, now when you're looking at your ladder, this is something that you're going to learn when we go into flight in the atmosphere or on a planet. You've got 0 here. That's sea level. That's horizontal. That's your horizon. Underneath there, underneath the crosshair, you're going to see it looks like 2 little wings. You got a dash, like a chevron there and a chevron there. That lets you know if your ship is going up or down. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on into the second part of this tutorial. So I'm going to end the video at this point and come back to part 2, and we will actually do some basic flight maneuvering.